Let's talk schedules, Jay. Let's talk about the future of Oklahoma in the SEC. We got 26, 27, 28, and 29 schedules, or at least opponents, available to us now. We'll discuss that coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, we got future opponents for the next 4 years from the SEC. My goodness, not only did they give us our permanent rivals, but they just went ahead and laid it all out there.
Yeah, they provided us, of course. So we talked about this on, what was that, Tuesday's episode. They leaked out on Monday the 3 schools that we'll have as our permanents for the next 4 years, which of course is Texas, Missouri, and then Ole Miss, which was a fascinating choice because
fun little surprise.
It's a fun little surprise, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I like as I mentioned before, going to the Grove is going to be fun for us to do again. But then they dropped the actual schedule, John, and not the full schedule, just who the opponents are. And I noticed something about it. Let's take a gander at this. We don't travel to Ole Miss next season. As Ole Miss is playing here this year, they'll also play here again next year, which is very interesting. But then the other home games will be Kentucky, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. So we'll get some old school Big 12 action here, and we'll travel to Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Levy game, and then we'll travel to Missouri as Texas is always neutral site. So I thought that was a little bit intriguing that we're not going to actually go to Ole Miss this next year when they're coming here this year.
Yeah, it's different.
Just back-to-back road games for them against us. It's just,
yeah,
it felt like somebody didn't pay attention to that.
Well, it's probably just trying to make it all work somehow,
Fair.
And, the scheduling thing, it's complicated. It's a convoluted mess. I mean, look at the ACC. Is. They're going to go to a 9-game conference schedule, but one team gets to play 8 conference games each year because, again, the ACC is a mess and they can't get to an even number. But as they hold out hope that Notre Dame will be their 18th team one day, which will never happen. But, yeah, I mean, that part's weird, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. I know Ole Miss fans probably aren't going to love it that they have to go to Norman back-to-back, but it'll all even out in the end. And, we go back to Oxford in 28. Is that right? So as we look at the schedule.
Or should we go in 27?
So we go in 27, and then
it's this one. Yeah. So here at 27, we go to Oxford. That's when we'll travel there. And we go to Vanderbilt. Now, this is what's interesting, too, is because we'll play every team at least once every 4 years, twice every 4 years, one at home, one on the road. The interesting thing is you don't play the same teams back-to-back years. So that's like completely changed around. Like, so with us having Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, and then Mississippi State on the road, next year at home we'll have Alabama, Arkansas, and Tennessee, which is like, but we don't even play Georgia in 27. We don't play Georgia again until 28 when they come to the house. So it's basically those same 4 teams come back to our house in 28 with Ole Miss being back on the home slate again, which it's just weird how they're doing it. But at the same time, I mean, I know it works. Like you said, it's a very complicated thing. It's just I would have thought that because of how this season is gone, you wouldn't try to make back-to-backs. I need to go look at the other teams and see if they've got that going as well.
Yeah, it's odd. And again, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it happen very smoothly. But, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a mess because, again, Ole Miss being a surprise permanent opponent, it kind of throws some things off, but it was never going to be perfect all the way around. But yeah, it is interesting that Georgia, Mississippi State, Florida, it's like in every other year. And maybe that's just the way that they are going to plan to do things like that. And where you're not doing home and home, but you're going to do home you're going to play the next, or you're going to play one group, and then you're going to play the next group, and then you're going to play that other group, and then you're going to play the next group. And I don't know. It's interesting. And I see people already talking about, well, it's an easier schedule. It's a tougher schedule. It's an SEC schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Every schedule is going to be tough. As we've seen in our first year and a half in the SEC, the Kentuckys of the world, the Vanderbilts of the world can climb up and beat any of the upper half teams any given Saturday. Parity is here in college football. It's especially here in the SEC. And you're going to have tough matchups regardless of where you sit in the conference. If you're the Georgia or Alabamas, you're going to be put in some dogfights by the teams that you don't expect. Mississippi State this year, they're a better team. They didn't win a conference game last year. They're a team that nobody's necessarily excited to have on their schedule this year. So it's just what a conference schedule looks like right now could feel totally different by the time we get to it in 2027, but especially by 2029.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, especially with just how teams, depending on how they recruit and how they perform. Yeah. Like Vanderbilt in 27 is going to be interesting because we'll go to Nashville. I love going to Nashville. Nashville's a great town to go visit. But then in 29, you'll get Vandy in town. But that one to me is a very interesting one too. We don't see Auburn again until 2020. What's that? 2027 is when we go back to Auburn. And in 2029, they come back here. So they have 4 years in between the next time they're actually back in Norman. That's going to be interesting. But if you look at these, John, which one of these intrigues you the most as far as the home slates? Which one which year are you the most interested in?
Let's see. The 26 year, it's not all that exciting to me. Kentucky, South Carolina, Texas A&M, like that doesn't really move the needle. The road slate's really intriguing with, going to Gainesville, going to Athens, and then,
Stark Vegas, baby.
Stark Vegas. I mean, that one's kind of fun. I'm thinking it's maybe the 2027 season, where you get Mizzou, Bama, Arkansas, and Tennessee. To me, that is probably the best home slate of the group. I mean, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss in 28 is pretty good too. So it's either 2027 or 2028 to me.
2029 to me, it goes up there as well. But I think I do like the 28 probably is the one for me, with Georgia and Florida coming to town. Yeah. You're getting both of them. Of course, Ole Miss once again, and then Mississippi State. So if Lebby is still there, he's make a return to Norman.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I mean, if Diego Pavia were still the quarterback for Vanderbilt in 2029, I'd be really excited about that one, but he won't be. Maybe he's going to be coaching, and then that would create some intriguing dialogue that would happen in game week. But
good point.
I love the Ole Miss is going to be part of Oklahoma's permanent schedule, just because Lane Kiffin is such an interesting cat. I think and Brent Venables, they should do like a panel kind of press conference with those two, because I think they'd have a lot of fun together. Like Brent Venables yes, he's an intense coach, but I think with a guy like Lane Kiffin, they'd probably just have a lot of fun talking ball.
I don't know. I don't think that would work personally. I think that BV's just a little too intense for that. And Lane likes to go. Lane will joke probably a lot more than probably BV's here for.
Maybe. All right, we got a bunch of recruiting updates coming out of a big win over Auburn. Some things moved the needle for several Oklahoma Sooners targets in the 2026 and 2027 class. We'll discuss all that coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.